Alright, welcome back to Back Magoon's Best of Asia tournament for Age of Empires 4. We've got Yui Metal here spawning in the green trunks, and we're on Mongolian Heights today. I haven't seen this one in a little while. Sort of fell out of favour with most of the tournament playing crowd. Oh, Timber, there's too many sheep. I don't like it. Man, it looks fucking stupid now with less sheep, I reckon. Anyway, we've got Yui Metal here, green trunks on the southeast side, HRE, up against Louis MT, the northwest side, red trunks on Abbasid Dynasty, with Louis MT taking a dock, or Yui Metal just gathering some wood. I think he's actually got to gather a bit more early. Oh no, he's already gone for the dock, I was going to say. What's he going for this wood for early? I was thinking they were going to have less starting wood, but that's not the case. It's actually less starting gold for HRE. Sorry. Because you start with the prelate, you don't actually have any starting gold, but you do actually get the benefit of increased carry capacity and increased gather speed. Carry capacity being, I think, innate for HRE, while the gather speed is actually from prelate empower. So both our players will be going on the gold, but perhaps a little bit later than what they would if they were going for just a fast Age 2 without any water. But this instead does mean that their food economy is going to really pick up quite quickly, and they'll be able to put more on the gold, put more on the wood earlier on in the game. I'm not a moron, you're a moron. Oh, I didn't mean it like that, bro. A couple of fishing ships apiece. Metal now able to go onto his wood line there. So that's actually something about Mongolian Heights. They're a bit strapped for wood, really. You can't quite secure any more than these two close clumps of trees. You're a bit shit out of luck. And I mean, yeah, there is quite a fair bit of food because, you know, you've got two sets of hunts, the boar on each side of the map, and you got a reasonable amount of berries. Players both having 3 sets of berries, but I mean, if you can't hold on to the water, realistically, you actually have got a little bit less food than most maps, I think. You'd probably have an extra 1 to 2 sets of berry bushes for each player's side on maps without any water. So, personally, I don't know if basically halving the number of sheep that are on the map is actually a good idea for this map. Granted, I'm not the best nor the smartest AoE 4 player, but I've played quite a fair bit of RTS. And personally, I think all the whinging about how this map used to be really, really easy for French players and other people that just wanted to go for a big food-heavy eco was too imber for them, too easy. I think all that's a bit of bullshit. Because, you know, the number one bitching I see about AoE 4 is about, oh, I never get enough sheep when I play. So we got Spearman here, and we got a second dock here by Louis Empty, but at the same time Yui Metal has gone for his spears, while his opponent just trying to go straight to H2. So Louis Empty is going to evacuate the villager. There. Movement speed the same. Oh, the spears are actually faster, but I think if you've got to stop and actually attack, realistically it does slow them down quite a bit. So really, first difference in builds, irrespective of civ differences we're seeing here, with Louis Empty having gone for that dock, Yui Metal responding in kind by just punishing it with early spears, but at the same time, this means that Louis Metal's, Louis MT, almost called him Louis Metal there, I did call him Lily Metal there. They're fusing up to become the greatest player alive, the Archon. He's managed to squeeze out two fishing boats out of that second dock. He will lose the dock, but the first one is going to be pretty safe. And by the time that UE Metal's able to pressure the second dock, which is actually the first dock, Louis MT is going to be able to mount some form of response here himself. And that fishing ship count is too high. Although I don't know if Louis MT is actually able to cut through, sneak these guys down here. Has he even tried? So they're just going to sit there. Oh, he's going to go for another dock over here. Bit greedy. Third dock already. But he's gone military wing, so he spawned some free units in here. I think you get 2 spears, 2 bows. So he should be right to clean this up while UE Metal, the later age up here, he's going for Arch and Chapel. He's going to be able to empower the wood line until he actually adds maybe a third lumber camp. The second one should still be inside the radius, the third won't be. So they'll empower the villagers as they come back to drop off. Not perfect, but I mean it does still mean that they're empowered most of the time they're gathering. So Louis MT is trying to defend here with that down. Be able to kill a number of these spears at the same time. Over here, he's also trying to harass UE Metal's fishing eco while he's also getting out a warship. So Eco Pop's slightly favouring Louis MT here, but at the same time, he's had a couple of idlers through all this. First because of those initial fishing boats idling, and now I'm actually not sure why, to be honest. Oh, he's bringing back some of the bills that he was using to build the dock there. Well, we've actually got an upgraded dock with naval arrow slits here by Louis MT. So this should mean he can take out a couple of warships or a couple of fishing boats quite easily with that. Same time, he's got to replace the dock over here because UE Metal was successful in sniping it. Now UE Metal is actually going to delete that passage there, and Louis MT could have really brought everything down here if he wished originally. So early man at arms here. This little sucker will be quite tanky. So no problem picking off, well, cleaning up all of that really. Bearing in mind, he's 120 resource heavy infantry up against some 80 resource light infantry and an 80 resource archer. It looks like things are now very awkward to fish on for UE Metal, having to do some distance fishing there. Looks like he was able to get the villager there of... oh no, not quite. So Louis MT is going to finish up his dock over there. UE Metal has also gone for naval arrow slits as well. It's cool getting to see all these players take that tech. Must have been sleeper OP earlier on in the game. Because another thing that sort of really crept into the meta was hunting cabin in the center of the woodline for Rus players, which is something it seemed to take about a year for people to actually figure out that they could get away with doing, but nowadays it's pretty commonplace. So UE Metal's just going to double down on man-at-arms production here. The beauty of having the barracks is, well, basically nothing, because you can still get the upgrades from the Burgrave Palace, but it's just meant he's been able to field a couple of man-at-arms initially. So Louis MT's trying to wall in the relics. And he's also going to try and go double stables proxy here. So he's going for a castle age. And yeah, dual stables proxy. So be able to mount Lancer aggression straight onto his opponent's woodline. Or onto his gold or his stone. Probably try and hit the gold initially, but then once the HRE player grabs a couple of relics, probably try and hit food over gold. UE Metal has a shitload of gold in the bank though. Like, an unbelievable amount. So Louis MT is actually a single stables. A single scout being produced at the moment. Waiting on Eco Wing to finish, and then I imagine he's just going to pump Lancers. Well, let's fight over here with the dual Hulks. I think they should be fine against a single Dow. They are a heavier warship. Oh no, that one's only a galley. Dude, it's only firing arrows, dickhead. So now the fishing boats are under quite a bit of threat. There will be a Springle chip in the bag we're coming out. But there is some fishing boats to actually repair these warships on their assault. And there's no naval arrow slits just yet. So there is double Lancer production here for our Abbasid player. Or our HRE player, UE Metal. Trying to harass with the man-at-arms delay that wood eco a little bit. Which will be rough for Louis MT because he hasn't got a lot of wood in the bank at the moment. And he's gonna want to try and defend here with warships if he can. So UE Metal will drop a couple of villages, but he's managed to actually secure a relic here. Finishing up a monastery because he's gone for Burgrave rather than Regnitz. So he's not going to get the benefit of empowered relic gold generation, but at the same time he's going to have wicked unit production. And these man-at-arms, super tanky, able to keep 14 villages zoned off the wood line. And it looks like they're going back for a little bit more action. Looks like that galley's been destroyed, but the Hulk has made it out. So these guys could be back at work. I imagine UE Metal's going to fix that up in a minute, but he's for now going to have to try and defend against this Lancer aggression. Starting some spears production, but there's, double Lancer production that's been going on a little bit now, and a number of villages have been picked off. Quite a number of them are all quite low as well. Although this isn't the greatest of fights for Low Empty to be taking at the moment, I don't think, because those two knights will go down. Oh! UE needs to get those guys back on the wood line, or at least moving, to try and minimize the amount of damage being done to them. So his own harassing of Louis Empty's base has sort of come to a bit of a standstill there. And he's got a lot of idlers here. He's dropped a couple of villages. And Louis Empty, aware that he needs to try and get those lancers back. Cleaning up another couple of villages. UE Metal trying to keep zoning that wood line, but there's already another one over here. Top of that, the gold mine's over here with a lot of villages on it. Which is probably where he wants to be actually striking at his opponent's eco. And through all this, there is still double Lancer production being continued by Louis Empty. He's made a real mess of his opponent's eco at the moment. In fact, that villager kill gap, it's really opened up now. So UE Metal down by about 10 eco pop, but he's also got a lot of it idling to keep his base safe at the moment. And he's really only just managed to start tickling Louis' pickle here. Oh man, being caught on the chase is just the worst feeling, especially when you've got the feeling that you're already behind on eco or tech. And now we've got crossbow production here for Louis Empty, so man-at-arms rushing, man-at-arms bum rushing of the villages isn't going to work so well anymore. UE Metal's actually going to need horsemen to try and deal any sort of cost-effective raiding to Louis Empty at the moment, because Yui Metal can try and keep using man-at-arms or even using spears, but they're not going to trade well with even just a small number of crossbows back on to defend. So another one being cleaned up. And now Louis Empty is able to actually prevent transition to trader production. One of those being sniped there. These guys not particularly cheap for anybody. More expensive than a villager. But especially for a civ like HRE where there's no real innate bonus to traders. Although I do like the idea of trying to trade when you've got a fairly easy to defend trade line there. In theory. Reality is his opponent's proxied the shit out of him. And managed to still deny him on the water as well, so. Do wonder if Yui Metal's best off trying to just put a dock somewhere. And just double dock produce elsewhere, because like Yui Metal down on fishing eco because Louis Empty's managed to just keep committing to early docks. Crossbows. It's tough for him. Gonna need to take constant kiting here because they are going to be slower than the spears. Now slowly chipping through things over there. But Yui Metal's backed off on the stables for the time being. And in fact the villagers that set up the proxy are still there gathering. Probably would have been better off just trying to hit the villagers rather than trying to take down the stables. Or even just, yeah, keep trying to pressure the opponent. But now it's another town center for our Abbasid player who's adding a lot of Raxes and Rangers here. So he'll have a nice front line of his own of spears or man-at-arms. Oh, third town center for Louis Empty. And he has gone for, well, he did go eco wing after military wing, but he's obviously made good use of fertile crescent. Already taken fresh foodstuffs a little bit earlier as well. Neither player's really been able to fit any blacksmith upgrades in, but we've got a couple of eco techs. Actually got the movement speed tech now coming for our HRE player. So Sacred being secured. But yeah, the villagers able to survive the proxy and even gather quite a bit of berries. But at the same time, this has actually ramped up the amount of food here for Yui Metal on those berries. Or at least sort of cancelled out the gathering, because normally these only give 250. So I think the HRE player can benefit from that extra food. I think they don't gather it as quick as the Delhi player, but they obviously don't gather as quick as them generally anyway, off berries. Yui Metal, it's a rough spot to be in because he doesn't have any presence on the water. He's able to start going for some of these relics and try and steal them off Louis Empty if he can. Single spear just going down the guard. All those villagers. It's a nice little push here from Louis Empty. And even the one man at arms. Just a nice bit of melee cover here. Villagers coming in to support the army. That's potentially dangerous for Yui Metal, so he's brought the rest of the villagers back. All the food sources of Yui Metal are being harassed at the moment, so he's really relying on just this hunt as well as his farm economy to get him through this. But that mill's sort of irrelevant now. This one's really important. The spear. Don't know what he was doing, just a bit of scouting maybe. Yui Metal trying to snatch a Sacred. And he did attempt to bring back one of the relics. Let's just secure a pair of those already. Villager. We should have been rallied over here somewhere safe. Or even just, you know, deployed and then just garrisoned immediately. It's looking really ugly for Yui Metal at the moment. He's going to have to try and take a fight eventually. With the town center focusing down Man-at-Arms, I don't think it's good. I think Yui Metal should be deliberately target firing down crossbows, which he's doing now. But maybe a little bit too little too late. He's still trailing on that army front, and Louis Empty, his eco has just exploded behind this with the 3 town center, and with, you know, still maintaining control of the water as well. Now he's found this hunt of Yui Metals, and I think things have now become mission critical here for the Yui Metal. Don't know if he's going to be able to muster up the forces to defend against this. He's really only got that Burgrave Palace still, and GG. Louis Empty takes another game in the series. So at game 4, and it's 3-1 to Louis Empty.